Welcome to another edition of Northern Heat. And this week, our special guest is Mike Doucet, better known as Chico, and a super fan of the Montreal Canadiens, I think, with where you're wearing, or it's just you didn't have another shirt to wear today, Mike.
Yeah, no, Montreal, number one in my heart. They're my team.
There.
And I'll support them all the way, win or lose. But right now, they're doing great.
So you're pretty happy about what was going on there for sure.
Oh, guaranteed, guaranteed.
And as you said just before we started this interview, I said, "What are you doing with that ugly looking red shirt?" And you said, "Well, I could have the white or the black one." So you're pretty well supported with the paraphernalia and all the stuff that you need to be able to promote that you're a super fan for the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite jersey though, because it's actually signed by Yvan Cornery himself in Bathurst when he was here not too long ago.
Oh, there we go. Look, check that out. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, no, it was nice.
The purpose of today's discussion wasn't to talk about this, but you decided that it was a good opportunity to tell everybody which team you were taking for. But you also told me a little story about a friend of yours that was the completely opposite side and took for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So you want to share that little story before we get into the real story we want to talk about today?
Sure. After the Leafs were winning the series or leading the series 3-1, and we were at the campground, we went and watched the game. There was hardly any cameras at the time. We went and watched the game in his brother's trailer. Just the two of us. He's a diehard Toronto Maple Leaf fan, and I'm Montreal. I said, let's go. Montreal, I'm going to show you how Montreal comes back and wins the series. And I said, yeah, all right. They don't have a chance. They got to win the next 3 games. That's not going to happen. Well, they won in overtime. And after that, he said, listen, why don't we do a little wager? You'll wear my jersey after Toronto wins the cup. And if Montreal does come back, I'll wear yours. And I said, you're on. And guess what?
Now he's
wearing parading the campground yesterday wearing my jersey and my hat.
There. You want to keep his name secret or you want to throw it out there?
Oh, no. I asked him last night if it was okay if I mentioned it to him, and his name is Ivan Young.
There. So Ivan is stuck wearing a red jersey now that he wasn't really too crazy about wearing because he's blue all the way.
Oh, blue all the way ever since way before the last time the Leafs even were in the running.
Yeah, that's rubbing it in. So congratulations. I'm glad that you got this going. And as I talk to more Montreal Canadian fans, everybody seems to be really pleased that they came back from being way behind and moved ahead. And they're already in they've won the first game of the next series against the Oilers. So this is kind of interesting on where it's going to.
Yep.
So
I don't know if you remember 93.
No.
Montreal won the Stanley Cup, and they won, I think it was 9 or 11 games in overtime to win the Stanley Cup. Hey, we could do that again.
There we go. Well, so let's talk a little bit about one of the main reasons of why we got you on the show today. And
sure.
Like you've been, as far as I've known, as long as I've known you, and I've known you for quite a few years, you've always been involved in volunteering your time of working with kids and doing all kinds of different fundraisers and supporting them in hockey and soccer and vignette and everything that I can think of. You've been involved with the kids as your kids were growing up. And lately, you've used some of your talents of your previous experience of being in the food industry and brought that to another level to help out kids at the school level. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how you got involved and what exactly you're doing?
Well, what happened is actually it was my wife that heard it on the radio that ESN was looking for a chef. And I said, why would they be looking for a chef? So I got curious. I went to see them. And I said, what are you guys looking for a chef for? And he said, well, we had this program and we need a chef to do it. And we've asked a few people and they can't do it, they're too busy. And I said, well, can I see what the program is? And maybe I can find a chef for you. So I took the book and I went home and I looked at it and my wife and I talked about it. She said, I called a few people and they were all too busy. They couldn't do it. So the next day I went to them and I said, listen, I'm not a chef. I love to cook. I've been in the food industry all my life. And I can give this course if you're willing to have me do it. And they said, oh my God, yes, you're on. So that's how I got in. And it's an amazing program. It's called La Table des Chefs. And this is the binder that I got.
Okay.
And it's a 24-week schedule. But because this is supposed to start in October, and this was January, I had to schedule it accordingly with the amount of weeks that I would be able to do it for them. So I said, this is what I'll offer you. I'll do it for 15 weeks. And these are the days, because you can't do it during March breaks. There's no school. This is an activity at the school after class.
Oh, this is an after class activity on top of that.
Yeah. So kids that want to be in this want to be there, because it's like going to volleyball or soccer or basketball.
Okay.
It's after class program. And for them, they have to commit their 4 to 6:30 every night, once a week.
Okay.
So I said, I'll do it if you guys agree or are okay with me doing it.
So this is boys and girls, right?
Yeah, mix. Anybody that was going to ESN school.
Okay.
And
for those that don't know, ESN is the French high school. So any of the people that are following us up. So how many people did you have in the class, Mike?
When we first started, we had 11 students, and we had one dropout after a couple of weeks because they couldn't commit. They were working and they couldn't take the time. Anyway, so then we got another one, and then we ended up losing one full team because they were all involved in volleyball, and volleyball interfered with that, and they said they had to make a choice which one they're going to do, so they went to volleyball. So one team was involved with that at the school, so it was after class program. So we ended up with having 8 students regularly all the time. Okay. That was halfway through.
All right, so 8 students. It's an after school thing. It's all volunteers on your side of the equation, but you've taken these kids to another level, right? Because at the end of this, what I could understand, there's a competition here between a number of schools together, and you were pretty successful at bringing them through a number of the steps of this competition.
Yep. The way the program works is that you start from A and you get yourself to Z. And what I say by that is that you learn how to use a knives, all your kitchen utensils, you learn how to use them properly, measuring cups, and then you're doing recipes every day with it, and new recipes, and you're learning about food guide. It's a whole program that at any given point, you should be able to cook up a nice meal without. So as we're doing this, because of the COVID status, here everything is different, and this is the first time there's a school from New Brunswick in this program. There's 3 in Nova Scotia, and there's a few, probably half a dozen in Ontario, from what I understand, and most of them are in Quebec. So this year they opened it up to any school that would be willing to join the competition. It was different this year, so you had to do it online and virtual, do a cooking. And it was with mystery items. So you had to apply for it. If you got in, then there was 30 schools that we're up against. We did very well in that section. We ended up in the top 5. And
top 5 out of 30 schools?
30 schools that participated that were eliminated from the first round. Like, first round was they were only going to take 30 schools because they wanted to make 5 groups of 6. And that's what we did. So we went there, we finished first in our section, which was amazing. One team from Ontario, which is from Ottawa. And the funny thing about it is where my nephews both went to school. They're not there now, but they went to the Franco City in Ottawa, and that school was also participating in it, which is pretty sharp.
Well, Mike, listen, for the number of years I've known you and the work that you've been doing with the youth and the kids in our area, my hat's off to you. I know how much time it takes to volunteer, and on top of that, you're dealing with kids and you're mentoring them and you're helping them go through. This is just another step in the things that you've done, and thank you very much for doing that. The community thanks you for doing that. The parents, I'm sure, thank you for doing that, and the kids themselves. Where were you when I went to school? Because when I went to university, I had a hard time learning how to boil water, and now you're helping them advance to that level. So, again, thank you very much. This is what the Northern Heat's all about: is demonstrating and showcasing people that are turning up the heat, and you definitely do that. You turn up the heat in the kitchen with these young kids, and you show them how to go. So keep on doing the great work and showing them and helping them move forward and to grow into adulthood.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And the nice thing about it is that the school has been accepted to go on in October. So and they've asked me to run the program again next year. So I said, yes, I will. And I think we'll have no problem hitting 16, like where our maximum number is going to be 16. So I think we'll be doing awesome. And that'll all come out in September. People will apply to get in. And if we have more, then there'll be a waiting list. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, good luck with that. Good luck with the Montreal Canadiens too, while we're at it. Yeah. And again, there we are. Another edition of Northern Heat for this week. And our super fan of Montreal Canadiens, and also the super volunteer for youth in the region of Chaleur.